Hello.
Hi.
Give it a few more minutes. I think Joe said he was joining.
Okay.
Oh, it looks nice there.
Yeah, really.
We are about 70 degrees today. So,
But
yeah,
we're about to get hit with like 20-degree weather.
like like not Celsius, like Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit, yeah.
Oh dear. I'm sorry, Joe.
Joe.
Hey,
So it looks like we do have one agenda item. So we'll get started here in just a moment.
so James, are you going to host it?
Yeah.
All right. Do you need the host key?
Oh, um, I
I
think I
will,
have it somewhere. I forgot. My
yeah,
other
I will
meetings
just
that I run,
see you that.
I think I have it somewhere. Yes, I got it.
Oh man, Vancouver is extremely cold. Like there's no transition from the summer to fall to winter. It's directly go from summer to winter.
How do you claim host? Is there a button somewhere?
Yeah, if you um
I figured it out last time, but I don't know. Uh,
open participants window and there is a claim host button.
there it is. Okay.
Nice answer by David.
Okay. So do I stop recording and then restart it or just let it go here?
I think you can just let it go. I can edit it.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. So this is the Run WASI and Container D WASM Shims meeting on office hours. It's 10/24, so October 24th, 2023. We will be abiding by the CNCF Code of Conduct. If you have any questions or concerns about that, please reach out to one of the maintainers. Please use the raise hand feature and keep the participants, or I'm going to keep the participants open, but I can see if I can, if anybody raises their hand. So with that, do we have any, please make sure you add yourself to the attendees list there in the document. I'll post that in the meeting notes or in the agenda here. And we do have one item today. So looks like Stan is yours, running WASI shims in a run C-like CLI interface.
Yeah. So I would keep it rather informal. So first starting with where this idea comes from. So with the I sometimes talk to people about the shims that are provided when installed with KWASM. And the first question when it's called a container D shim is, what is about is with cryo? So can I do it with OpenShift as well? So starting from that, we had the CRUN runtime, which can also run WASM Time, WASM Edge, and WASMA. Yuki can also run WASM Time, WASM Edge, and WASMA, like the RunWasi repository with the container D shims. What's not possible so far, or what is a limit, is the implementations in the Days Labs repository, which is Slide, Spin, WASM Worker Server, and Lunatic. And to not implement them in CRUN and Yuki, I thought it would be great to, I would say, reuse our shims and just have an I wrongly named it OCI compliant runtime interface, and I learned that the CLI interface is not part of the OCI spec, but Björn suggested that we call it an RunC compliant interface. You may have read that in the channel, so I think it's a little bit hard to say, so but no problem with that. Let me short share my screen, so I now can show what the idea initially was. So I was inspired by our RunC shims, with our RunWasi shim, which has this handy main function where you can just say, okay, here is a WASM Edge instance with a few parameters, and that's it. That's our main function. Everything else is wrapped by the library. So my idea was, why not doing the same with Yuki itself, to have an interface that can be understood by any software that can start RunC. And it would look like wrong repository, as always. Okay, let's go there the hard way. I have a fork and have done the example with spin. Where is it? Logs? Too many branches in parallel. Okay. And sorry, I just confused myself a little bit. So here it is. It's an Yuki RS, and it's, I would say, pretty similar. It's just starting Yuki executor and is using the executor from our shims. It looks pretty easy. There are not so many changes needed. The main problem is that Yuki is currently an bin crate and not a lib crate. You can't import it, and you need to do some changes. So namely, changing the main RS to a lib RS, and creating such a main function inside Yuki. That's, I would say, a very fundamental change to the crate, and therefore I ask the maintainers what they think about such a change. And it doesn't really look like they are happy with it, which I can totally understand. And the suggestion was that I could create another crate which is based on the liboci CLI, and I would need to copy, I would say, a substantial part of the command line interface, which sounds to me like I would need to fork it. That's not really what I wanted to do, because it would have some maintenance overhead. And yeah, so for me, it's a nice POC. I can, at the moment, work with that. So for I would say, limited amount of time, it's okay for me to have a fork for showcasing that. I can run it with Podman and OpenShift. And that's the point where I just, yeah, wanted to go back to the community and ask, is there some need for running the shims with Cryo? Because if there's no need, I would say it's a funny little thing I created, and I'm fine with that. On the other hand, would it be beneficial for the shims to have a run-C-like interface? So yeah, so that's basically the question. So if there would be some need, we can could talk about it. On the other side, there are other possibilities to get the shims to work. So I'm not really dependent on this. So it's a loose end for me. So that's why I'm here.
So does this enable it? You just kind of put this binary on like an OpenShift node, and you can run WASM workloads using what's working here.
Basically. So I'm using CRC, which is basically a desktop version of OpenShift, and it comes with run-C and crun, and you just put it with the name crun minus runtime name on your node. Need to add a little config to your cryoconf, and then you can basically use it as a runtime class in Kubernetes. So it's pretty much the same approach we are using with Containerd, only that it's an run-C compliant CLI interface instead of a shim, because Cryo is always using the run-C v2 shim. So it's, I would say, a layer deeper than we are currently using it. And that's the comment of Björn. So it's correct. So you have some compatibility issues, like especially what you are doing, James. It's definitely not possible to pull images other than file system images, because it depends on the layers, and the blobs are not represented in Cryo at the moment. So that's definitely an I would say, limitation.
So Sven, just want to summarize, I guess also to check my own understanding of the issue. I'll bet that I have never seen this issue before. So the major pain point you were describing was in order to run WASM workloads in Cryo, the Containerd shims are not available in that case. But Yuki is more generic than that. So you want to use Yuki runtime, different WASM runtimes built into Yuki binary, so that you can run them on Cryo instead of run WASI. Is that right?
Exactly. So we are already doing half the way with running with creating the lib container based executors, which you could theoretically plug directly into Yuki, but Yuki has no interface for that. And the Yuki maintainers see it not as a feature of the Yuki crate to have pluggable executors. So that's just not in their scope. And I would say that that's the only limitation. Other than that, yeah, it's just a nice to know thing for me. And yeah, I would say that there is no follow-up action on this. With
What-
that, yeah.
Just a quick follow-up. What do you think the Run WASI community could offer help in this case?
So it's, for me, it's just, I would say, saying that it's possible. And if there, for some reason, is a need to run, for example, the Wasm Worker server or a spin on a cryo-based Kubernetes, we can definitely do this. The code changes are pretty small, and I would say it's easy to maintain. Easy, depends on how many changes there are on the Yuki crate. But I would say you need a use case for that. Otherwise, it's just, yeah, maintaining things for not using it. That's not sustainable.
Got it.
So if in the future somebody asks you what you can do with cryo, there's a possible way.
Okay, I want to direct this question to David. Do you know we have any customers or users who ask for cryo?
Sure, there's a percentage of customers that run AKS, Red Hat, OpenShift, and all sorts of different Kubernetes. I mean, what we do is
David, I can't
value in
hear.
that.
You have a lot of background.
Oh, I'm
noise
so
or
sorry.
something.
I'll speak up. What we do internally isn't necessarily reflective of the community as a whole. And I think the more that we can get the entire ecosystem of projects working together, the better off we're going to be as a community. This is one of the things that's kind of like, worried me, kind of stuck in the back of my mind is, yeah, we're working really well with Containerd. However, with the cryo projects, I think actually at a recent, the last KubeCon, I think it was KubeCon, we were doing a Fermion demo with the shims, and somebody was running Podman. They're like, hey, I can't run this stuff. Oh, you want me to go install like Containerd? Now oh, geez, there's all this stuff I got to do to get this working. It is painful. If you're in that world, if you're using these tools, it's not easy.
On the other side, the follow-up discussion Björn started is to move the completely logic of running WebAssembly up to the CLI, so that the CLI knows what WebAssembly is, and then can, I would say, operate on that. But I would say it's a long way to get there. So it's nothing we can, on the one side, easily do. And on the other side, I'm not sure if we directly get the right approach. So I think we need some try and error. James is looking
Yeah, like at the cry layer, you said? Like
it's yes, CRI, so at cryo or at Containerd.
yeah, I just don't see, like, cry itself doesn't concern itself with like the runtime itself underneath, right? It's more, it's higher level abstraction, and so I just don't see where we would tie into that. But there's like a few points where we have like Linux and Windows specific things in the cry layer, but ideally those we've even started to abstract those away even further. So yeah, I'm just not sure why we want to pull WASM up into like the cry layer.
Okay, how I see it at the moment is at the moment we are creating a shim which is running a classical container and have a WebAssembly runtime in that container. So it's from the concept still a container with a WebAssembly runtime in it. But theoretically, we don't need this container wrapper around the WebAssembly runtime. It could directly run modules because it is sandbox, as long as you trust the sandbox enough. That's another discussion. But then you can, without having a running pod, having a WebAssembly runtime that hosts all of your functions and can instantiate them if needed. So I would say more scale to zero, because you have just a single instance running instead of one per container. But that's just brain things, so it doesn't need to be the right way.
Yeah, I mean, I can see bringing WASM up into like maybe or adding some sort of like runtime spec type integration and like artifact, like right now we're not using an artifact type because of the stuff that was there, but like I do have like a picture where we could have like an artifact type that is then handled by all the runtimes, and that's starting to form in my head. It's something I'm working on starting to maybe document and push forward as like an official like artifact type, but I'm not sure where that fits into the cry layer specifically. So
it doesn't have to. So don't.
well, I don't know either. So
Yeah,
I'm
so
happy to hear it. I just that like I if you have examples or thoughts there, I'd love to hear it.
it's not that concrete. So don't nail me on this discussion half a year ago in the future. So then maybe it's something different. So I think we are moving too far away from the discussion. So I can stop here and just give it back. So if there's no more agenda item, I'm fine with that.
I mean, I think what you're showing is like, you know, the stuff that we have in the shims that are pushed out is like, we have like Run WASI itself is doing all the containerd stuff, but the shim implementations, the way we have them right now, all they're doing is the WASM time stuff. And so what you're doing is just wrapping that code into a run C type of code, which makes a lot of sense. I think if there's interest from the community to do that type of thing, but I'm not sure.
Me neither.
David, now David's looking sideways.
No, I think it makes sense. I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see you bringing it up, Sven. Thank you.
All right, then. There's no more comments. There's no other agenda items. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to bring up or discuss? All right, then. Well, thanks for everybody stopping by today, and we'll talk to you all later.
Good to see you all.
Bye.
Later.